Next. Very good. Yes?
Like you said before, that you were the president of Godfather's Pizza before.
Yes.
And you became the president when the company was nobody.
Yes.
And then you led it to such great heights. So if you happen to become president, do you think you can do the same with the economy? And if so, how?
Yes, I believe that I can take the experiences of taking Godfathers from bankruptcy to success to the entire country for the following reason. For those who may not be familiar with what she's referring to, when I took over Godfathers, it was going bankrupt, and Pillsbury thought that it was going to totally fail. But it didn't. And the reason that I can believe that I can do the same thing with this entire country is because of the simple principles that I used in every job I've had in terms of how I work on the right problems, ask the right questions, and remove barriers to success. That's worth writing on the board, Professor. Oh, what's that board?
Board.
That's the fancy electronic room.
Ah. My problem-solving approach that I have used in every situation I've been in fact, I'm writing a new book on this as we speak. It's supposed to be out sometime next year. I'm about 2/3 done with it. This is my problem-solving approach. No matter what the problem, what the situation, what the company, what the size. It's worked every time. So I figured it'll work one more time. I call it war.
I like this one.
Work on the right.
Oh, I like your handwriting.
You don't like my handwriting?
I like it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Problem. If you don't start out working on the right problem, you're probably not going to get the right answer. A lot of times they're working on the wrong problem. What's the problem we're trying to solve here? This is just common sense. You can tell I'm a closet teacher because when I was in college, I did teach a math class in my senior year. So I did a little bit of teaching. I'm not as good as Michael over here, but work on the right problem. When I went to Godfathers, their problem was they had too many products on the menu. They had too much junk going on, too much stuff going on. They didn't have what I call focus. Focus. They had the original Godfather's crust was a thick crust that was patterned out for a New York style crust. I mean, a Chicago style crust. Then when they got in financial trouble, this was in 1973, then when they got in trouble in 1983, they reacted trying to lift sales. So they developed a new crust that looked like Pizza Hut. They developed another one that looked like Domino's. They developed another one that looked like Little Caesars. So they had 4 different types of pizza in the restaurant with 4 different formulations, 4 different flours, 4 different recipes for putting it together. And people couldn't keep track of, well, which one they were supposed to make when. They didn't have focus. So the first thing I did was I said, we are going to eliminate 3 crusts. Y'all got to learn how to do that. And get back to our original crust. And let's just market, promote, and execute one crust. The basics. They had too much stuff. It worked. We had to do a few other things, but it worked. So step number 1. Now, in some of your science classes, I don't want to step on any science teacher's toes here. I remember learning in 8th grade the problem-solving approach to scientific problem solving, something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was something similar to this, but I'm going, once I developed this, I'm going, why didn't they teach me this in the 8th grade? It would have been a lot simpler. Ask. Ask the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you may not be moving in the right direction. And I'm going to translate this one from remove barriers to success and identify the biggest barrier in most of the stuff that we deal with, and that is R is remove communications. Confusion. In this whole tax code debate, you hear some politicians getting up talking about we don't need to give tax cuts to the rich. It's not a tax cut. It's tax rates. These are existing tax rates that were passed in 2000. They've been here for 9 years. They are trying to decide to extend the current tax rates. Not give somebody a tax cut. How you gonna give somebody a tax cut they don't have yet? That's like you're on the floor and you're gonna fall off the floor. You can fall off the sofa, but you can't fall off the floor. That's hard to do. They are not tax cuts. They are tax rates. Communications confusion. Why do they want to call them tax cuts? To play the class warfare card. They want to make somebody making $50,000 a year, $40,000 a year, to be envious of somebody making $250,000 a year. Those evil rich people. I got news for you. $250,000 a year is not rich. It's not. What did he say?
He said,
It's a good start. It's not rich. It's a good start. And if you make $50,000 a year and you are envious of the person that makes $250,000 a year because the politicians have planted the seed in your mind that those people are rich, you will never be rich. Because you're too worried about what somebody else has. And then here's the one that they do all the time that just drives me nuts. The other night I was doing my show, last night as a matter of fact, and my producer said, I forgot to pull the knob down because I knew this was coming. Well, why should we give Bill Gates and Warren Buffett a tax cut? I said into the mic, I don't care about Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. I want to be one of them. Why are you worried about those people? I have breaking news announcement. They're rich and they're going to stay rich. I want to get as rich as they do. They are. So people who worry about how rich somebody else is, they're worrying about the wrong things. Removing communications confusion. They're trying to confuse you by calling it a tax cut. The other thing that they try to do in order to fan the class warfare flame, well, why should we give those rich people $700 billion in tax cuts? That $700 billion is a lie. Because it was calculated using static analysis, not dynamic analysis. And the reason they use static analysis, which means that they assume that if you raise taxes on a group or of individuals, that if you raise taxes on a small business person, that they are going to just pay the incremental tax and it's not going to change their behavior. If I make widgets and I make $100,000 a year, okay, I make $100,000 a year selling widgets. And then the government comes in and says, we're going to raise your taxes 10%. Static analysis says that of my $100,000, I'm going to pay an extra $10,000, so I'm going to stay with $90,000, and that I'm not going to fire somebody, so I still make $100,000. Static analysis. Dynamic analysis, they passed a law requiring static analysis. They have perpetuated this lie on the American public for decades. You know why they've been able to get away with it? Because most people can't explain the difference between static and dynamic analysis. But you see, I tricked them. When I went to Pillsbury, one of the groups I was in charge of was economic analysis. They don't know that. That's why I'm able to explain stuff that other people can't explain. This is the biggest barrier to solving most of the problems in Washington. This number one, and this right here. Pick an issue. Immigration that we just talked about. Most people think it's one problem. No, it's three. Remove communications confusion. And when you remove communications confusion, you then are able to get the public and the voters to understand what it is you're trying to do. And if you get the public to understand it, they will insist that their lawmakers vote the right way.